Hey, Ali, how's it going?
Hi, Sal. Pretty good, thank you. Lovely sunny day. Although it is now, we're over summer officially. We're now into the first day of autumn.
I know, big sour face. Oh dear. But anyway, we have had 5 good days of summer.
Yeah, and I actually, in my experience, especially in Melbourne, because of course that's where I grew up, I always thought that March was the hottest month of the year.
Yeah.
It was so hot. I remember when I used to walk from the railway station to my teacher's college, whatever, there and back, because I wasn't driving in those days, just melting under the hot March sun.
Well, that's what we're waiting for. So it's usually when school goes back in February, it starts to heat up, and by March, yes. But it does get cool in the evenings, which is quite nice. So we'll
Yeah.
still have fires at night time and beach days during the day. So welcome everyone to the Empower Zen Community channel. And I'm Sally, and of course it's
I'm
Ali.
Ali.
Together, this dynamic duo are here to help shift and lift your awareness and help you create some positive change in your life. Because, Ali, I only had a conversation every day this week about how this is a year of taking ownership and responsibility for your own health and well-being.
Totally. And that's what I believe that in terms of our lives, when we take responsibility for who we are, for what we want to bring into our life, that's empowerment. And that is so powerful because it makes you feel really good about everything because you know that you're in the driver's seat. So whether you get good stuff, whether you get crud, it's on you. You can't blame anyone else. It's on you. And if you don't like what's happening, change it.
Absolutely, you're in the driver's seat of your own life. And the more we can realize that our life is our responsibility and we have the ability to change it, you are empowered. And there's nothing more attractive than a confident person who's feeling empowered because they're feeling strong inside and out. And once we realize that it's an inside job,
Totally.
everything starts, and then we can really start to grow. So, what are we talking about today, Ali?
Well, this is a really important awareness as well for people who are not aware of that. We're now talking about the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And this is about energy. This is not about gender. This
Mm.
is about how both genders, whether you're male or female, have a divine masculine and a divine feminine. And when the two of them come together, it's a perfect marriage.
Mm.
And what we're going to be talking about today is how you have this marriage of your divine masculine and your divine feminine. So you can be empowered. You can do the things you need to in your life. You can make decisions. You can be loving, nurturing, and caring,
Mm.
starting with yourself and then to others, and whatever you're doing with whether it's your work or your business or what have you. So that's what we're talking about today.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's super important to realize this. We're talking about the energy of the masculine energy and the feminine energy. And so, child energy is a combination of them both, having a little bit of the male and a little bit of the female. So, do you want to run through what the masculine energy is all about, Ali?
So should the masculine energy kind of like the masculine gender that we kind of think about in a sort of stereotypical way, but not. We're looking at the male being the protector, the leader, the one who is, he sort of starts things. So he is in a way the creator. And the male is the one who brings all this really positive energy of doing action, and while he's a leader, it's not about dominance or about control. It's about really coming from a space of love. So whether you're divine masculine or you're divine feminine, you're coming from a space of love. So both energies start off with, being their best selves for the benefit of both. Like a perfect marriage. It really is, a dance. Like, I'm a terrible dancer, but when you do see a couple who, especially old-fashioned dancing, like your Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers, when the feet kind of, mesh together, he leads and she follows, and sometimes she might lead and he will follow, not in dancing, but certainly with the masculine feminine energy. That is a beautiful thing to watch and
Mm.
to experience.
Mm. And so the masculine energy is very much about the career, it's about the finances, and as you said, it's about the doing, and it's about, your basic needs. It's about the security, and you know when you're feeling your masculine energy because it's head down, bum up. You're working harder. You're not working smarter. It's just the routine of the days in and days out, going off to work, traveling, you're getting stuff done. And it's about your logic, right? It's about your thoughts and it's about the processing in a logical way. And whereas the feminine energy, and let's just also say that the right hand side of your body responds to the masculine energy. So often, every time I have a client who has ailments or something, I say, well, what part of the body, what side of the body is it on? Because often, if it's on the right hand side, it's the relationship to males, it's the work, it's the career, it's the finances. Where are we getting stuck in all the stuff that we need to be doing? Whereas the left hand side of the body is the feminine side, and that's the nurturing, it's your intuition, it's the connection to yourself, it's the nurturing, it's a relationship to females. So it's a softer energy, and as you said before, this is more about the being, whereas the male energy is more about the doing.
Yeah, and it's interesting because we know about the left brain and the right brain, right? It's the same thing, but it's not just the brain, as you say, Sal. It goes right through the whole body in terms of, your right hand side being your male oriented, and your left hand, no, the other way around. Your left hand side being, right hand side is female, and the left hand side is the male. And the way I remember that is they talk about left hand people are in their right mind, and that's generally how I remember it. And so, but of course, morning time, not my best time of day.
Now let me confuse you even further, because the right half of the brain responds to the left side of the body, and the left of the brain responds to the right hand side. So the left brain is very male focused, male energy focused, and the right brain is the female focus, which is the left hand side. So there we go, to really confuse you. But once you can get a head around different energies and the different qualities and the different vibes that go, you can see where you need the blend of both. Because we were talking the other day about mothers, who are nurturers, but they have to get so much into their male energy to get stuff done.
Absolutely. And talking about parenting, it's really awesome that in this last couple of generations, that fathers now get to be in their divine feminine with their children. My dad, I think, was probably one of the few, as my mum said, she never had to walk a baby, because I used to call my dad the baby whisperer. He could put any baby to sleep, even a stranger's baby. He just had a knack. And fortunately, he was born in 1919, so he'd be over 100 years old if he was here today. But, in those days, men didn't do that. Happily for us as a family, including my mother and for my father as well, he did that with the babies. Of course, once the kids could walk and talk, they got too much trouble for him, so then he'd give them back to my mum, so to speak. But with babies, he was awesome. But men of his generation and before did not allow themselves to do that. And these days really warms my heart when I see dads with their little kids really enjoying their kind of feminine part of being a dad, which they probably don't realize that's what's happening. And it doesn't matter whether I'm tapping into my masculine or I'm tapping into my feminine, as long as you can do it, right? So whether you're doing it consciously or not is irrelevant, as long as you're getting the benefits of it, is what I'm really trying to say.
Yeah.
But if you don't know, if you're in too much of one or the other, then be aware that maybe you do need to make a bit of a shift. If you're too much in the doing, and you think, okay, I need to get into the being, but just realize that's the kind of feminine part of you that you really need to honor and you need to spend some time with, and really give her the time and the care she needs, just like you would a person. And the same with a man, right? You would give him the honor that he deserves in being a leader, a true leader, when you need to be that true leader, rather than being a bully. So the dance is awesome when we have that dance happening.
I mean, this year in particular is a year of duality, bringing things together. So the masculine and the feminine, combining those together. It's like the positivity and the gratitude. It's all a duality. I think I sort of touched on it before, but when we're in the male energy, we're processing from a logic sort of process, and it takes time. But when we're in the feminine energy, we process very quickly, because we're sensing from our gut, and so energetically we're tuning in, and we process so much quicker than when we're logically trying to go through the steps in the process. Because when we bypass the logical mind and just go through the energy of our gut, boom, we make decisions straight away. We don't have to process the logic of it all and go through the different steps and motions there.
Totally. And just something that we touched on before, if you feel that you are being too clingy, then you are too much in your feminine, right? And realize, okay, I now need to take my power back by not being so clingy and being so needy. If you feel that you're being too forceful and too controlling, too dominant, and you're being a bully, then realize, okay, I'm too much in my masculine and I need to come back to the center, to my feminine. So when you have just a simple awareness of how am I being, and that'll generally be how am I feeling. If I'm feeling good about how things are going, rock on, that's awesome. But if I'm feeling life isn't working for me, why? And you think about it and you think, okay, maybe I'm just being too clingy and people don't really like that. What can I do, especially in a relationship? What can I do to make myself a lot more independent rather than being dependent? And if you're being too much of a bully, what can I do to be a bit softer? Especially with our kids, it's really good with children to bring both of your divine masculine and divine feminine together, because then you give them what they need and you also are being the role model for them. And when I say children, it's also, your colleagues, and if you're a boss, if you're a supervisor, the people, who are your subordinates, be like you as a leader, I think is very much in a way like a mum or a dad. Bring those masculine energies together, masculine and feminine energies together to be what, you can do for the benefit of everyone.
Good point. And I think it's also important to note that as we go through this quantum shift, as we're shifting dimensions, it's very much stepping more into the feminine energy. So out of the more masculine energy of controlling and, I don't know, the old ways, very much rules, regulations, and
patriarchal.
What was that? Patriarchal.
Patriarchal sort of
shifting back into more of the feminine, and you can feel the softness. You can feel the more of the community focus, the collaboration focus, more of the connection. Whereas the old way in the masculine energy was very much isolating, and it was dog eat dog, and it was everybody out for themselves.
Yeah.
The new way, the feminine way, is combining and connecting, working together collaboratively, and you can feel the difference in the energy. You can feel that shift. And so the planet is shifting into a more feminine energy.
Yeah.
Once we get our head around that, it's just energy, and it's going from that masculine to feminine. And as we said, it's not gender-based, but traditionally it was the patriarch, and it was the males going out to work and fend and look after for the tribe, and the women stayed at home and looked after the kids. Well, all of that is shifting, right? That's just a change in the times as well. But stepping into the feminine, and this is a year of being the warrior woman and the warrior man, but not in the old way of using the strength with your fisticuffs. The power and strength is within. It's the love and the compassion, sticking to the light and staying with those lighter emotions of love and forgiveness and compassion and joy, as opposed to the heavy anger, stress, all that. You can feel that heaviness from the old way.
Yeah, it's not called divine masculine, divine feminine for no reason. It really is about divinity, and divinity is not about God as much as about transcending the human, because we're all human. We all kind of, have those reactions of you want to sort of revenge or what have you. I don't believe there's any joy in that, but that's by the by. But that is very much a human reaction. And what we're talking about with the divine feminine and the divine masculine, it's about transcending that human tendency to kind of come from a place of hurt and fear, and instead go into that divinity of love and support and kindness and compassion. Very much.
Totally. And I think I love having these conversations and making them more normal in our everyday conversations, because we can feel it, and we're just explaining what you're feeling, because you can feel the softness, and you can feel when there's too much male energy in conversations or in places or in governments and stuff. You can see it if you're watching the news. It's like, oh my gosh. And it's follow the light and step into that feminine, because it's such a beautiful, warm, supportive place, isn't it?
Exactly. I'm talking about energy. When depending on what kind of emotion you're feeling, that affects what's happening in your body. It affects the hormones, it affects the cells at every level. So when you come from a place of love and kindness and compassion and gratitude, your whole body responds. And you can do this yourself. If just for 30 seconds you stop and think about something a really angry sort of situation, you'll feel your whole body will tense up. And then if you kind of stop and kind of think of something else, just to break what we call, to clear the screen, and then come back and think warm, loving thoughts, your whole body will respond in a different way as well. And both of us, well, I don't know whether you saw Renee's story yesterday. She was saying about, when mums, they did a study, and when mums got, well, sorry, when daughters got a text from their mum, they had a different response when they got a voice message from their mum. So when they got a voice message from their mum, their cortisol dropped and their oxytocin heightened. Whereas when they got a text, it didn't do anything with the oxytocin, but the cholesterol, your cholesterol actually sort of went up a bit. So it's really interesting that even in modern day, you're using devices and stuff, that listening to a mum's voice has such an effect on a daughter
Whoa, that's
versus a text.
a changer.
Yeah, isn't it?
Voicemail to my daughter because I've been texting and nothing, right? Nothing. So I'm going to do that. That's awesome. Awesome, because, we work with energy, frequency, vibration, and energy. And, it's getting the vibe. You're feeling the vibe, because, when you can listen to a message and you can sense if someone's in a good mood, bad mood, if they're stressed, worried, if whatever. My girlfriend, one time she rang me, it was a couple of weeks ago, and she only said a couple of words, and I said, "What's wrong?" And her world had imploded that particular day, and it was just the vibe that I got from the place, right? And it's so true, Ali. That's a whole game changer,
isn't it? And I was just thinking, mums and daughters generally have a fairly close bond, and there's nothing wrong with, so if dads want to try that with their daughters, that would be awesome too. And for mums to try that with their sons would also be really great. So I think the voice is so much, and I don't know about you, but I used to talk to my kids in utero. And if you're, a pregnant mum, please do that, because it really just accentuates the bond. And if you're a dad whose wife is pregnant, talk to the baby in utero, because I just think that is setting the kids up right from the start, before they're even born, to connect with you and to feel the loving sort of vibes from you. But I'm now getting goosebumps. I think I'm going to cry.
Yeah, it's so true, because when you are carrying and what's going on in your outside world or within yourself, the baby is taking it on. And I know so well, because, if you're stressed, kids are, look, this is a whole other conversation.
Exactly. And my mum used to say, happy mothers make happy babies, because it is, kids get you, and same with animals, right? So my partner wasn't very well last year, and the dog was responding completely. He was just so out of character and just such a pain in the neck to be around. But energy is everywhere, and it goes out. And when you can get, coming back to the divine masculine and the divine feminine, when you bring your divine masculine and divine feminine together to work for you, it works for everyone in your world.
Yeah.
And it is a fabulous marriage within yourself. And it's amazing when you work on yourself, it changes everything around you. Especially if you want to change people around you, start working on yourself. You change and they will too. Because it's energy.
It is, and everything's an inside job. We keep saying that. So I think we should wrap it up here. Al, I think it's just fabulous to have these conversations about the feminine and the divine masculine. Hopefully you're understanding a little bit about the difference of the both, that it's not about if you've got a dick or tits. It's about, it's about energy. Oh, that just fell out of my mouth. No.
That's so Sal. I love it. This is raw and real, folks. You don't get any crap with us. It's absolutely who we are. Authenticity on steroids. I love it.
Up there, and we look forward to catching everybody next week. Going back to the final three universal laws, 9, 10, 11, 12. No, 10, 11, and 12. There you go. Any parting words here, Al?
No, just come and join us. You never know what you'll find. You never know what you learn. You never know what you'll hear. So come and join us.
Never know what my mouth. Yeah.
Thanks, Sal. Bye, everyone.
And all come and like, subscribe, and share, and we'll catch you next week.